It's the United Rugby Championship round 3, Benetton against Leinster Stadio Monigo, the venue in Treviso, and that is the Benetton side that will take on what we will describe as a fully loaded Leinster, and you'll see why in just a minute. Fekitoa, of course, formerly of Munster, and Menoncello, the Six Nations player of the season in the centre. Benetton have plenty of talent and plenty of ability. They haven't started the season so well. A draw with the Scarlets week 1. They lost heavily to Glasgow last week, and this is what they face this evening. McCarthy and RG Snyman makes his debut for Leinster in the second row, a back row that sees Caelan Doris, the club captain, at 8, Van der Fleer and Conan either side of him. Gibson Park at 9, a long-awaited start for 10 for Frawley. Osborne in the centre alongside Ringrose. Hugo Keenan returns from his Olympic adventure at fullback. Jimmy O'Brien and James Lowe either side of him. Ronan Kelleher and Kieran Frawley, Joe McCarthy, and the frame of RG Snyman, and it's a frame that the Leinster supporters have been dying to see in blue, not so much their cousins from Munster who bid farewell to a Snyman who suffered so much injury in his time in Munster. A new dawn for him, though, at the Stadio Monigo this afternoon. That is Leinster. Internationals one and all, as Michele Lamaro, the Italian captain, the Benetton captain, leads his side from the changing room and out to this picturesque venue. 23 times these sides have met before. Benetton have won only on 2 occasions. Leinster 19 wins. There have been 2 draws, and the odds stacked against that man's side, albeit with a team full of internationals themselves. Just one player, Manuel Zuliani, the open side flanker, not an international on that Benetton side. There's the man who will take charge, Craig Evans. Alec Griffiths, also of Wales, the television match official. Perfect conditions as we await the start of this round 3 game, and alongside me a man who's been here before, James Tracy, 141 times cap for Leinster at hooker. Good afternoon. Your thoughts on this one?
Cheers, Ryle. Yeah, very excited to see how RG Snyman goes. I think anyone from a Leinster perspective is very excited about that. And another big one is if Kieran Frawley is going to grab this shirt. The 10 position has been up for grabs and a lot of discussion. So is he going to take it tonight?
Time on.
Jacob Umaga is the man who will get us underway at the Stadio Monigo. The one-time capped England international, 26 years of age. And it's Leinster who receive the ball and receive Riccardo Favretto and co as well. At the same time, Hugo Keenan back in the 15 jersey, as I say. Made his appearance at the Olympic Games with the Ireland 7, something he wanted to do, something that Leinster facilitated. And now he's back in the blue, and you would expect in the green of Ireland at 15s in the weeks and months ahead. Difficult for so many returning players, and it has to be said on both sides, James, to get in to the pace of the season and to be match ready and to perform today. So expecting a little bit of, well, maybe basic errors that you wouldn't get if you were deep into the season, or is there no excuse for that coming in?
With the calibre of players, you know, you would say there's no excuse, but there is nothing like real game minutes. You can't really do it in training, so it'll be interesting to see how they start the game. Leinster are going to need a fast start, or they're going to get themselves in an arm wrestle.
Maile to Negri, Sebastian Negri. What a fantastic ball carrier he is for club and country. No doubt we'll see a bit of him. Good pass, it seemed, from Umaga, but it was a Leinster hand that was in the way, and the referee says continue. Everybody seemed to stop and look and wonder, and eventually we will go back for the knock-on. No advantage accruing to Benetton. The Leinster hand in there trying to intercept, nothing more than that, and we'll get the first scrum of the evening. 6:15 local time, of course. James Lowe readies himself. 12 changes in this Leinster side from last week. Only Jimmy O'Brien, Jamie Osborne and Jack Conan retained from that comprehensive victory, if not fantastic performance from Leinster against the Dragons, winning 34 points to 6. First scrum, always interesting.
Yeah, and you'll be interested to see for our scrum enthusiasts out here what Leinster's tactic is to deal with Ferrari, who has a keen interest in taking an angle across the scrum, and very effectively. So for Ronan Kelleher's left shoulder, and what direction Tadhg Furlong can keep him across the scrum.
Simone Ferrari wearing number 3 over on the far side. The man to keep an eye on. And as Benetton all go one way, Garbisi, it's the younger of the Garbisi brothers, playing scrum half, goes the other. The kick was the right idea, just not executed particularly well, and Hugo Keenan had all the time he needed. James Lowe's not hanging around here, takes it quickly, saw that Benetton were retreating with their backs turned, and kicks it downfield. Gallagher, Matt Gallagher that is, son of John, the former New Zealand international, sends the ball high, and Leinster have control of it. The ball there for the now balding Jemison Gibson Park. Snyman doesn't find his man. Osborne has to retreat. Be interesting battle between Osborne and Robbie Henshaw in that 12 jersey as the season progresses. Here's Matt Gallagher again, and to the air once more we go. Again, plenty of time for Keenan. Umaga at the first there, but particularly put under pressure Hugo Keenan, and Gibson Park has control of the ball. Here's Frawley, so much expected of him at 10. Jack Conan, we know so much about him. A couple of tries already in the season so far in the opening 2 games. Benetton have turned that one over. Leinster guilty of not minding the ball at the breakdown, and there is Seb Negri, who will play scrum half. Ferrari takes it into contact, and Alessandro Garbisi is the scrum half. Umaga through the hands, Benetton go. Menoncello, what a find he's been, just 22 years of age now, Menoncello, but he can't hold on to the ball. Both packs guilty of not minding it when they go to the breakdown, and those big arms of Snyman, and that's what he brings to it, the ability to offload from absolutely any angle. And downfield the kick goes. It's not a 50-22, but it's good territory for Leinster, and that in a nutshell is what RG Snyman brings to the game. James Tracy.
Yeah, lovely turnover there from Caelan Doris. You can see Leinster struggling to get any momentum. With Treviso, they have like a 13-2 defence, a lot of men in the front line. They're very good at slowing you down. So Leinster doing well to go to the air and kick possession for territory. I think that's the only way they're going to get into this game, is not running into a brick wall. It's by kicking the ball nice and long and making sure that they got line speed.
There's Marco Bortolami, the head coach of Benetton Treviso. He will have locked horns for Leo Cullen his entire career, as Ronan Kelleher receives a little attention. Bortolami, of course, 111 caps for Italy. Played some time in the Gallagher Premiership at the same time that Leo Cullen, another second row, was playing for Leicester in the Gallagher Premiership. Cullen, of course, 32 international caps, so 2 old war horses of second rows in the coach's box as Kelleher receives some attention. Of course, Dan Sheehan out, a long-term injury for Leinster, so Kelleher not exactly a step down by any means, but you don't want to lose him, having already lost the talent of Dan Sheehan. He looks okay, not 100%, but they'll give him an opportunity, you feel, to run it off. 5,000 the capacity at the Stadio Monigo, and well attended is the Tongan international Siua Maile. Finds Riccardo Favretto and around the front, but it's scrappy and it's messy, and that coming from Leinster pressure.
Brilliant from RG Snyman there. If you saw him up the side of the mall, we'll see it here on the replay. He does a good job of blocking the corner, and those big arms, sees the breakout and gets the arm in. It's those little subtle moments is what he's going to bring to this pack.
It was over, scrum is you.
Both the coaches going with a 6-2 split on the bench of forwards and backs. Clear from both their positions where the battleground was going to be today.
Suspect the gap. And again, he's clear shoulder.
Red scrum cap of
okay, when I'm calling set,
Josh van der Fleer, referee.
Closer. They're having to go backwards.
Not happy with those front rows.
Go down on your mark. And don't want to tell you again, that shoulders got to be out. I need to see it. If I can't see it, we can't see it. Okay?
Clear instructions from the referee, I guess, as a front row forward. That's what you want, is to understand what the referee's looking for.
Yeah, and in fairness, Treviso are very good at closing the gap and trying to square up. So if you can see, the hooker keeps stepping across to the right. He's trying to get a head-on-head, which would put Tadhg Furlong at a disadvantage. They're very effective at this, but you're kind of dependent on the ref to manage it as best you can.
Set!
Gibson Park's feed, really good attacking opportunity for Leinster, who choose to keep the ball in, and it's the wrong decision. Penalty. Is it Tadhg Furlong on this side of the referee, or the far side? The penalty going against Andrew Porter, it would seem. What was your sense of that?
It looked like he called a hinging penalty there, but you know, from playing on that track, the ground, the top layer of grass can go from underneath you quite quickly. So Ferrari's obviously done a good job of putting pressure on Porter's neck there, and looks like he's either pancaked or hinged.
Simone Ferrari, 30 years of age, Italian international all the way back since 2016. That is he on the left-hand side. Up against Andrew Porter. We'll keep an eye on that. Well, James will keep an eye on that one as the game continues. Cannone and Benetton, they've weathered the opening 7 or 8 minutes, but that one is stripped, and Frawley has a little look up to see just how out of position Benetton are, and executes perfectly. Really good kick out of hand from Kieran Frawley, and that's exactly the sort of play that Leinster supporters, and indeed Irish supporters, want to see from Leinster's outside half this afternoon.
Classy touch from Frawley, and we've seen him do it in the biggest moments, but a little rip from Van der Fleer in there, and listen, that's why he was World Player of the Year. It's all those little moments, and he's able to give Frawley the opportunity to execute a brilliant kick.
15 times cap for Tonga, the hooker Siua Maile, and he finds his man, and Leinster disrupting that ball for Benetton. It squirts out the back, and they just about deal with it, but that good pressure from Leinster, and it's given them the throw to the line out. From here, it should have been straightforward, but it wasn't.
RG Snyman doing a great job again, reaching those big arms over the top of the maul, and Kelleher sensed when he'd broken out and did a good job of pressuring it. These are backing up really good moments and not letting them exit easily. Bit worrying here, seeing Kelleher down, getting some treatment again. Yeah, Lee Barron is Leinster's replacement hooker, and it may well be that he's required earlier than he might have expected. He's had his troubles as well with injury as Ronan Kelleher. Yeah, he's, you know, every time he seems to get a bit of a run, he picks up unfortunate knocks, and such a talented player. I think as Irish rugby supporters and Leinster supporters, we've been blessed with Dan Sheehan himself come along at the same time, but for Ronan, it's just been so hard to get a good run going. Say you were delighted to see both of them arriving. I'm lucky they didn't come along 5 years earlier, or I wouldn't have had a career. So, listen, there's been, you know, young Gus McCarthy coming along now. There's a wealth of talent there, and it creates great competition. And you know, the likes of Dan Sheehan been out with a long injury now. It's Ronan's opportunity to try to grab a bit of momentum. So hopefully this knock isn't too bad. Benetton, of course, improving season after season. 7th last season in the URC table, won 11 of 18. Ultimately lost to the Bulls in extra time in the knockout stages, but they're up against it right now as RG Snyman raises that big body into the air, or it's raised for him, and Leinster go to the maul, crabbing cross field a little bit, and Gibson Park is going to go after it. Van der Fleer pops out the far side, and the referee awards the penalty to Leinster. Don't take your eyes off this, because Gibson Park might well go quickly. Slowed down, and Frawley, no doubt, going for touch, and the line-out ball will be Leinster's.
Stay down and drive. Don't lift the leg, okay?
Yeah, Van der Fleer did a good job of salvaging that. It would have been held up if he kept it in there. So he kind of had to break out and try to get to the try line, but they get a chance to go again.
So then Kelleher and Leinster take two. This time, it's towards the tail where Joe McCarthy is, but the theme is the same. The maul. Kelleher has it. Gibson Park guiding him on. Kelleher goes. Ominous moments for Benetton, but they get a body under Ronan Kelleher. Really good defending. It was until that moment. Decision from the referee. Maul collapsed, and I think it's Spagnolo, the prop forward, wearing 1, who's going to be singled out and yellow carded. And the penalty try is awarded.
What about big Orgy Snyman's first few involvements? Part of turning the ball over twice. You know, you look back in the video, and those are the moments that you look at the try. It's not the person who dots it down. So very exciting to see the line out taken there as well. What he's going to bring to this Leinster pack.
It is Spagnolo who is singled out, and Benetton, well, not alone the penalty try against, but down to 14 for the next 10 minutes, and having handled or managed the opening 10 minutes reasonably well, they're now very much on the back foot. Umaga gets them underway again. They're going to have to manage their way through the next 10. And Leinster, no doubt, will be buoyed by that. Gibson Park flings it out to Snyman. Frawley, and through midfield Ringrose goes. Gary Ringrose looking for support. Gibson Park on his shoulder, beautifully done. Inside is Frawley, back Benetton come, but they can't get to him. End to end, terrific try from Leinster. Ringrose, Gibson Park, and Frawley finishes it off. And the merry band of Leinster supporters that have made the trip, well, that was worth it right there.
What a start from Frawley. If you see the double pump here at the line, lets who is it? Is it Fekitoa shoots out the back. Ringrose very composed, and they're playing through the hands very nicely. If you watch the ball transfer there from Frawley, and a serious finish.
And Frawley would add the extra 2, and all of a sudden Leinster are at the horizon. 14 points to 0. On the negative side, no more Ronan Kelleher, in will come Lee Barron. But the execution there, even the passing from Ringrose, the awareness of where Gibson Park was, and they were not short passes that Leinster had to execute to exploit that space.
Yeah, been comfortable keeping the ball alive. You know, he was isolated. He could have just found contact. A less experienced player might have, but he pulled the brakes a little bit. Knew Gibson Park will be on his inside, and again, Gibson Park with a classy touch to find Frawley.
Down to 14 players, remember, and they will be for another 8 minutes or so. There's Caelan Doris, of course, Leinster's club captain now. Carries the ball forward, and you can see the confidence and the comfort of the Leinster players already. Lovely little offload from Snyman to Van der Fleer. Just a flick of the wrist, and we're getting the full box of tricks from the big South African. Confirmation that Lee Barron, it's just Lee Barron, is in hooker for Leinster. Frawley, Osborne, Hugo Keenan, Conan out in the wide channel. He's got gas, you know, Jack Conan, and keeps Leinster moving forward. Blocked down and managed just by Benetton. It's Gallagher who comes away with it there for Garbisi. They just haven't seen the ball for the last 5 or 6 minutes, and they will see it now. Leinster offside, and a moment to take a breath for Benetton. Offside. You were saying before we came on air to me, James, this is a difficult place to go. You never found it easy, and you look at the stats, Benetton only lost 1 match there since March last season, that against Glasgow in round 11 of last season. It's a tricky place to go, and has become one, hasn't it?
It's always tricky, and as I said, how they defend was a really big part of that. Teams make a big mistake at going there and trying to attack against them too early with the ball in hand, and it just gets you, you're running up dead ends. Leinster started really well in how they've kicked the ball a lot. They haven't waited, go through too many phases. They've waited for their opportunities. Now, Treviso are going to have to play differently. Obviously, they're down a man, but when you're chasing a game, you can't defend as hard. So we're going to see Leinster probably pull them apart a little bit more than we would have earlier on, where they're kicking the ball away.
Siua Maile to a shortened line out. Opportunity maybe for Benetton. They go long. It's not executed particularly well, and Umaga is forced to clean it up. Garbisi. Pack will be asked to carry Leinster's first line defence. He's catching Benetton behind that gain line. Say that, but Van der Fleer didn't make the full tackle, and Maile was able to make a yard. Seb Negri always seems to make a yard, even through contact, as Odogwu is the next to carry. There for Garbisi. This better from Benetton is Negri for the scrum half once more. Now it's Zuliani. Use that 22 as the gain line. Can Benetton find a way beyond it? Not on that occasion, despite the best efforts of Sebastian Negri. Now Favretto. Again, Leinster up quickly, make the tackles, and eventually Benetton just run out of ideas. Combination of Porter and Conan get over the ball, and it's turned over. Penalty to Leinster.
Yeah, I think it's been a... You know, I was kind of looking for Leinster's identity since Nienaber came in, especially around defence, and I think we're starting to see definitely traits in it in this game. The line speed and pressure they're putting on the Treviso passes, and it just leads to a little bit of a delay at people getting to that breakdown, and it gives opportunities for the likes of Porter, who we know is a seasoned poacher, and Conan, who's really added that to his game over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, Jack Conan, a couple of tries already. One of the frontline Leinster players who was back into the URC at the start of the season. Try against Edinburgh round 1, try against Dragons in round 2, and here he is starting in round 3 in the reasonably unfamiliar number 6 jersey rather than 8. Good tackling from Benetton around the fringes forces Leinster back, but not on this occasion, as it's Ringrose, I think, who takes it up through Umaga. Here's Hugo Keenan, always carries the ball in 2 hands, keeps the defence guessing. James Lowe's kick ahead is a delicate one, and it bounced in his favour, and all of a sudden Leinster are up and over the Treviso line. Great work from James Lowe. Tricky one for the Benetton defence to manage. Gallagher back he came. Little look over the shoulder when he got up low. Well, we know he has the strength to do just that, and it gives Leinster the put into the scrum.
You're going off. You said change. Okay.
Seb Negri looks like he's in need of some attention. And just confirming that in, and the reason I stopped is because it's Benji Aminu, prop forward, who comes in. That's confirmation of a substitution that happened earlier. Aminu coming in for Negri. So front row forward for back row forward was, of course, for the scrum for the yellow card.
Time on. Scrum on the 5, next to the ball.
This pass in particular, a cracker for Frawley to finish. So Aminu in, Negri withdrawn, and Benetton under the pump as we head towards the end of the first quarter.
8. Let's go, boys, please. Stay as you are. Shoulder out all the way. Out. Crouch. Bind. Set.
No doubt the training ground has seen what's to come this week from this position, as Conan and Leinster look to go to work, but Benetton lock it out and do really well. Osborne is used to crash it up. Benetton need to make sure they don't go offside. Back from where it came. Well spotted by Gibson Park, and it's Jack Conan who's out wide to get Leinster's 3rd try of the afternoon, and his 3rd try of this new season. Try in each of the 3 rounds for Jack Conan.
Yeah, there's a man who was putting his hand up with Caelan Doris obviously getting announced as club captain. The 6th jersey is the one that he's going to be gunning for. So he started very well and holding the edge there. But shout out to Lee Barron in the scrum there. He wouldn't have done any reps with that front row during the week. So to lock it out, especially against a very angled tight head like Ferrari, a lovely first scrum and entry for him into the game.
Oh, what about that for vision? We take it for granted with Jamison Gibson Park. First to see it, secondly the execution, and it took out 4 if not 5 Benetton defenders. So good. That's what faces Kieran Frawley as he looks to make it the perfect 21 for Leinster, which he does. That was a quarter that they will be very comfortable and content with. 21 points to 0. Leinster lead it. The advantage of 15 against 14 for 10 minutes of that opening 20. But they've done exactly what they would have wanted to do and what they talked about pre-match.
Yeah, and I think the tactics of how they started the game has gotten spot on, putting the pressure on, and it's led to that yellow card. And then, listen, Treviso are going to have to play a little bit and take a few more risks, and that's only going to play into Leinster's favour, especially with the firepower they have.
O.G. Snyman was athletic in his retention of the ball there. Van der Fleer, and I think it was Furlong, just lost him in the lift for a moment, but everybody okay. In any moment now, Spagnolo will be back, and so will Negri, and Benetton will be relieved to be back to their full 15. Another couple of seconds, maybe one more play to go.
Okay. Thank you. Ben, let's go. Let's stop this group in, okay? Let's go.
Just being held by the 4th official. Snyman, the big signing for Leinster, big signing for Benetton as well this week. Augustin Creevy is making his way, the Argentinian hooker, to join the club, bringing wealth of experience and still some amount of ability to this Benetton side. Not available for this afternoon's match, but will be, we believe, from next week. There for Garbisi, and that one is going to go out in the full, and back we'll go. And those little errors accumulate and hand the momentum and take the air out of the tires of your own team.
Yeah, and I feel like once the tide turns against you in these sorts of games, stuff that you could do with your eyes closed starts going against you. Like it guarantees hitting that box kick 10 times out of 10 all week, and when the tide turns, it's just different. Be interesting to see now, will Leinster still play the percentages here or go for an attacking play?
Barron, Snyman, Gibson Park, Frawley and Van der Fleer, who's just brought that part of his game so well, hasn't he, carrying over the last 4 or 5 seasons. Ringrose, Gibson Park, Keenan and James Lowe, who's started looking very hungry indeed. Gibson Park once more. Here's Frawley, nicely shuffled on by Doris to Van der Fleer. Benetton cross to make the tackles. McCarthy's looking like a seasoned campaigner, isn't he, even though it's only really his 3rd senior season at this level. Gibson Park, Frawley once more, he's looking confident and comfortable. Furlong pulls it back, Osborne, a little bit of room. Fekitoa makes the tackle, but the pass nonetheless finds its way to Hugo Keenan. Gibson Park once again, and Andrew Porter makes a couple of yards. Gibson Park not happy that it's going in the right direction, so, well, there you go. We saw Frawley do it in the opening couple of minutes. Gibson Park has it in his armoury as well. Little look up, saw that Benetton had been dragged into a very front foot defensive effort. There was lots of space behind the execution of the kick right out of the top drawer.
Yeah, we're seeing them punish the backfield. So Treviso have a 13-2 defence with 2 men in the backfield, and sometimes when they're under pressure, they'll put an extra man in the front line with a 14-1. It leaves the full back or whoever is covering it with a lot of space. So you got to attack that kick space. What you can get trapped into is teams who love to play with ball in hand will attack against it, and you just get eaten alive. So you got to punish the backfield. Scarlets will be the same. They will play like a 14-1 a lot. You got to just punish the backfield. You're playing a fool's game, keeping the ball in hand. So they're getting it spot on with the tactics. Even when it's a man down, sometimes you can get suckered in to try play too much. So they've done well, sticking to the game plan. It seems to be working well so far.
You talk about that 13-2 defence, so 13 up front, 2 in the backfield. You suck a team into a 14-1 by continually carrying and then exploiting that space.
Yeah, continual pressure. If you can make them overfold and come back, or take them the same way if they don't fold enough and get to the edges, that's how you can kind of manipulate that backfield to come up. And when they come up, that's when you got to punish them in behind. Or it could just be a mental error from one of the backfield players not knowing where they're meant to be, and that's when you got to spot it. We've seen that a couple of times so far.
Seeing it and doing something about it, two very different things, and we've seen examples of both Kieran Frawley and Jamison Gibson-Park doing exactly what was required. Shortened line out for Benetton as they try to defend their line. 23.5 minutes into this game, and we're already talking about bonus point try territory for Leinster, and that is not going to help Garbisi at all. He received the ball, he received the significant number of Leinster forwards at the same time, and Benetton just about have rescued the situation. They really are struggling, and Umaga's kick is charged down. And it's a team in 4th gear playing against a team in 2nd gear at best right now.
Yeah, I feel as well, it's probably worth mentioning, it's been a 13-1 for most of the game, so it's been very hard to defend against, and Leinster are very good at putting pressure on teams with the kicking game, but also not letting them exit easily, not just letting them set up that maul and kick it. They're putting pressure through the back of the maul. They're ready to shoot on whoever the +1 is. So they've done their video work. They know that Treviso have a certain exit that they'll do. They're allowing them to win the ball at the front and then punishing them elsewhere.
So then, Lee Barron settles himself into the middle of that Leinster front row. It's Ferrari, Spagnolo either side of Maile, Furlong and Porter on either side of Lee Barron.
If you come down and come over and give a free kick, I can see more of your shoulder from that side than you can probably see standing here. I need it visible. Okay, I'm not going to stop the scrum again. It'll be a sanction next. Okay?
Referee seeing exactly what you suggested he needed to see, James Tracy, but they don't always do.
No, and as the game goes on, they tend to see less and less, but fair play to them for actually calling it out, because sometimes they just let it go, especially when there's a team a few scores ahead.
Crouch!
If you ever get the opportunity to go, a wonderful place to take in a game is the Stadio Monigo in Benetton's Treviso. Leinster looking for a bonus point try just after 25 minutes. Jimmy O'Brien is the one who takes it to 5 meters out, and they're going to get the try. All too easy for Caelan Doris. Benetton's defence simply melted away. Crowd not happy, and you can understand why. That was all too easy for Leinster.
Lovely scrum platform there, and you can see what Treviso are trying to do is trying to get a head-on-head, so they're stepping to the right, trying to get a head-on-head on Furlong so they can disrupt the base. But lovely scrum from Leinster, and you see how Gibson-Park takes the line. I think he pumps the ball maybe 4 or 5 times. It just makes it such a hard read, especially at the line for the defenders, and they just do a really good job of picking them off and getting them on the next phase.
Yeah, Craig, I confirm. In possession, downward press, no separation.
Yeah, the crowd's booing for the perceived grounding of Caelan Doris as Frawley adds another 2 to make it 28 points to 0, but we'll see it again, no doubt, on the replay. There was no separation, there was downward pressure, and there is no question that Leinster have their 4th and bonus point try. for Benetton, it is a long, long way back, and this could get really ugly really quickly for them. They've beaten Leinster on 2 previous occasions, here in 2010, the RDS in 2018, and a couple of draws as well, the last one of those back in 2019, 27 points apiece. But right now, they're being outmuscled and outclassed. Captain Michele Lamaro is going to have a big job to do. Keep this team in this game, keep their heads in this game. Got to get some form of reward, you feel, as this half drags on, as Maile plays scrum half and Garbisi, his first receiver. Menoncello in midfield takes it up, but again, just a basic error. And as you said, James, previously, they're the little things. When it's going against you, it really just goes against you.
Again, his pack won't be thanking him there after that good set-up maul. Yeah, but it's just, you know, Frawley does a really good job of putting pressure in the back of the tackle, holding up the ball carrier. And again, it's just it's one of those things, you know, when it's going against you, it can't seem like anything can go right. But you know, Leinster, how many times did they throw the ball out of the tackle in the previous phase leading up to the try? Maybe 5 or 6. When you're confident, when you're on top, all those passes stick. When it's going against you, stuff like that happens, and there's knock-ons at the bottom of the ruck.
Now the referee has had his attention drawn to the big screen by the TMO, Alan Griffiths. Let's hear.
Okay, I'm at the screen. Ready when you are.
Keep an eye on Kieran Frawley here. Say there's anything there on the first viewing, unless they're concerned about the way Maile hits Frawley.
At the moment, for once here, I can see just the blue player forward who's coming in, not so perfect. Okay, at the moment, Alan, from what I've seen 2 looking to enter that breakdown, and simultaneously blue 10 has dropped. The player hasn't had no time to adjust. So I haven't got foul play on that incident there, so I'm going to stick with the scrum.
Yeah, okay, agreed, Craig. Thank you.
No problem. Stick with the scrum. No foul play. No, I haven't caught the back of the head. He's dropped, and green 2 got no time to readjust. Scrum.
On all the evidence, that's the right call, James Tracy.
Spot on. I think the sentiment behind them checking that is good, but yeah, I think there was nothing in that, and it would have been a bit ridiculous now if they'd given a penalty for that.
You're joining us late, the voice of James Tracy, former Ireland international hooker, of course, and over 140 caps for Leinster. As Mirco Spagnolo readies himself for the test of Tadhg Furlong once more. 4 tries on the board for Leinster, a penalty try in the opening 8 minutes. Kieran Frawley, Jack Cohn and Caelan Doris added to that. And Leinster with the 4 conversions, well, 3 automatic conversion for the penalty try, and they're in cruise control as Frawley peels away and Gibson Park goes down the side from which he peeled, and that's forward to Jimmy O'Brien. A rare execution error from Leinster in this opening half hour.
Am I biased, or is that a bit harsh?
No, I think it was on the yes is the answer. So much competition for places, of course, in this Leinster side. You talk about Frawley taking on the 10 shirt today, and behind him on the bench this evening, Ross Byrne, who's been ahead of him for so long, and Ross's brother Harry Byrne not even in the squad. Sam Prendergast down with the emerging Ireland team in South Africa. And, well, there's a Barrett to arrive and a Slimani to add, and a Sheehan, and we hope a Kelleher to come back. Leinster have talent to burn. They need trophies to show for it. Benetton get a rare win. They get a penalty at the scrum, and maybe that will be the lift that they need to engage them into this game where they've just simply been blown away. Umaga will surely go down the line and the platform will be set. How close to the line can Jacob Umaga get Benetton? It's an okay kick out of hand, keep them about 8 or 9 meters away from Leinster, but this crowd needs something to cheer, and Benetton need to find something to give them right now. First thing is secure possession, which is done through Negri, and now Maile at the back, and the maul not really going forward, so Garbisi takes the law into his own hands, and Odogwu is on his shoulder. This is as good a position as Benetton have had in the opening 31 minutes of this game, and they find their way towards that Leinster try line. Again, good line speed from Leinster around the fringe of that ruck. Again, Benetton carry, but no real change. Garbisi. Van der Fleer makes the tackle. Scrum half there once more. Umaga had it and dropped it, and Lowe has a hold of it now, and Hugo Keenan is off to the races, and Fekitoa targets the ball and tries to turn it over, and the penalty goes to Benetton.
Good defensive set there. James O does a good job of keeping the ball alive, but top class from Fekitoa. How he gets the player to the ground as quick as he can and straight in on the ball. That is textbook. As the poachers go, it's get the man to the ground as fast as he can by shoving him down and getting straight perches on the ball.
So back to where they started. Benetton deep inside the Leinster 22. Crowd engaged really for the first time. He's had little to cheer. Second opportunity in the last minute and a half or so. This time a little bit closer. Again, challenge one, secure possession. Leinster get men in the air, and Tadhg Furlong has come away with it. Favretto was the intended target, just didn't find its way to the Benetton second row, and the opportunity is gone. Furlong is the one to sweep it up, and then the penalty comes.
Snyman with a great read over the back there. So kind of every second line out there throwing in a dummy forward and trying to win it in behind. Snyman waited on the second last one, and he came over the top this time, got the read, and did a really good job of getting the hand in there and got the turnover.
A word on young Lee Barron. You'll have seen him coming up through the ranks. He's got, well, there's a lot of traffic in front of him, but he has the skill set.
Big time, and he's a very, he could be 6'2 or 6'3. He's a Dan Sheehan build type of hooker, but very exciting player.
Osborne.
No lift.
Of course, when we were naming the players that have still to show back up for Leinster, or that they have at their disposal, you forget about Robbie Henshaw, who is yet to reappear, and Osborne will be in competition with him for that 12 jersey, no doubt about that. Well taken by Gallagher, who came from a long way back to secure possession for Benetton. Garbisi to Sebastian Negri. Good presentation of the ball. Garbisi to no one in particular. Odogwu has to turn, and he stands up to a face full of O'Brien and Doris. Keenan there as well. Garbisi, ball bobbling around at his feet, needs to bring a little bit of structure and composure to the back of that breakdown. Umaga, Fekitoa, and they've got on the outside here, maybe an opportunity through the hands of Mendy, Ignacio Mendy. We've barely mentioned his name, back from Argentinian Rugby Championship duty, and straight into this Benetton side this evening. Up quickly, Leinster come again to make the tackles. Benetton shuffle it on. Fekitoa cleans it up. Did Maile knock it forward? Referee says no. Garbisi gets his hands on it, and that's better. And away comes Umaga, and Umaga back inside. The best that Benetton have produced. Menoncello goes to ground. The cavalry arrive. Garbisi digs it out. Umaga once more. Ball thrown out. Osborne comes up to make the tackle, but the pass is away, and Zuliani to Gallagher. Benetton looking for a runner on the angle. The angle was taken by Maile, but the pass didn't go to hand. And a breathless 90 seconds or so comes to an end with a Benetton error, but at last they've sparked into life.
Love to see it, and you know, it's all duck or no dinner with this defence. You're flying out of the line, but when you get around it, it's you're in behind and you can make big yards. Garbisi did a really good job there at one, getting around that edge defender. Everyone's working to try get back to solve it, then taking it to the line and offloading out of it, because the outside players get ahead of the ball. So if you can win a shoulder and get an offload in, you can get in behind, like we saw Garbisi do there.
This was a terrific take from Gallagher to get us underway in that particular passage of play, and from there the ball out wide. Conan shot up out of the line, but the pass and the pace and flatness of the pass beat him, and around Jack Conan Benetton were able to get, and from there, well, they almost created something special. Jimmy O'Brien is not in a position to continue, so Ross Byrne is going to come in. Remember, 6-2 split on the bench. Leinster's backs Ross Byrne and Fintan Gunn, the sub-scrum half. So you presume Byrne comes in, goes to 10, and Frawley may well find himself out in the wing. We'll see in just a minute. Maybe Osborne moves to the wing and Frawley goes to the centre. They'll have planned for this. Let's see how that plan unveils.
It's your ball. You set up and you just here.
Four minutes to go to half-time. It remains 28 points to nil, as it has been since the 26th minute of the game.
Set.
Doris at the back. Frawley, Gibson Park, Ross Byrne.
Okay, tackle.
Gibson Park can see it, and it's McCarthy who's asked to carry it up. Snyman there as well, and Gibson Park back to the big left boot of young Jamie Osborne. It looks from that alignment that actually Ross Byrne may have dropped in to centre and Ringrose has gone to the wing. They can do so many different things, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them mix it up on each play. But Frawley was definitely at 10 for the first two of those plays. Now Ross Byrne sits into that position.
Green, let's go, please. It's a 5. 5, 6.
Maile this time goes for Niccolò Cannone, his brother on the bench. That was out. Surely Doris was okay to attack. Referee agrees, and it's there for Lee Barron and Tadhg Furlong. Ross Byrne beside him.
Retreat, 2, stop, 2. Stay.
Going to play a little kick tennis.
Come back.
And Osborne up to the halfway line. Throw to the line out will be to Benetton. Osborne, it was further than that, ref. It was further than that. It's been a tricky start to the URC season for Benetton, of course, who went so well last season. Draw against Scarlets week 1, 20 points apiece. Significant defeat last week against Glasgow, 42 points to 10, and now look at them. But maybe something from Odogwu to spark them into life and give them some hope for the second half. Barron went after it, off his feet, had to leave it, as did Doris. Negri, as Benetton crash into the Leinster 22. Now Zuliani pulled it back, didn't go from Umaga to hand, but Fekitoa had a hold of it, and it's advantage to Benetton. Was it a knock forward? Were Leinster offside? Referee hasn't ruled on that just yet. Here's Ignacio Mendy. Odogwu has stayed out wide. Has some help there from Gallagher to do the clean out work. Referee not happy, said low was legal, but advantage not fully accrued, so back we'll go. And it is a full penalty offside.
Treviso getting good change out of that line out straight over the top, so not getting involved in the lifting and jumping part, and just throwing it straight over the top to either someone who's left the tail of the line out or a back who's run from back 10, and they seem to be able to get change in getting around that blitz defence.
Well, since the 25th minute and going 4 tries down, it's been a lot better from Benetton. And what would cap it off nicely as we tick into the red, and this the last play of the first half, would be a score to build on in the second half. It's taken by Cannone at the front of the line out, but there weren't the numbers there to protect the ball, and Leinster got a man over it, and they've turned it over. And it will stay as a big 0 beside Benetton as we hit half-time. The dressing room's close to the Leinster backs, and they turn and take what's on offer. 4 tries in the opening 25 minutes. The first a penalty try from Power, Frawley, Conan and Doris. Followed that up with another 3. Leinster have, well, in truth, been in cruise control, and Benetton have had very little in an ability to answer. In the second half, they'll need a high-scoring first half for Leinster. It's been a high-scoring kind of weekend in the United Rugby Championship. Connacht by a point last night against the Scarlets. Glasgow 52 against Cardiff's 36. The Lions 55, Edinburgh 21 earlier today. The Bulls beating Ulster 47-21. And so you're aware, the Dragons lead by 10 at half-time in a game being played at the same time as this. 22-12, they lead the Sharks. Good take from Osborne, good chase and hit from Negri.
Release!
Remember last week in Zebre Palma, Munster led by 28 points to 15 and ultimately lost that game and lost it heavily. Leinster, well, already further ahead than that, and you would not expect the same sort of capitulation from this Leinster side. But you were saying to me at half-time, James, sometimes getting a bonus point in the first 40 minutes just makes it a little tricky psychologically for the second half.
Yeah, I think it's good to have something to chase and focus the mind on when you're sitting in the sheds at half-time, and it can actually be a negative getting that try just before half-time, but you got to find something to spark you in and get the second half going. They're going to have to find a way to get momentum into it, and that's a good start there, pinning them back. But if Treviso get an early score, then all of a sudden you're defending a lead and not going out and attacking it.
Maile, and he finds Cannone, and the referee shrill blast with the whistle. Penalty to Benetton against Joe McCarthy. Easy exit for Treviso. Here's Matt Gallagher, cap now for Italy. Born in England, made his debut for the Italians in a trip to Samoa this summer. Could have played for Ireland. Gallagher, his grandparents from Derry and from Limerick. see McCarthy lifting the leg of Favretto. Referee doesn't want to let them get on with it.
Okay, all first four, he's told you where to go. You know you're going to be 2 and 2, clearly away. Just be asked. If he asks you, just listen to him, I think you get involved. Okay, stay 2 and 2, time out.
Reminder, referee Craig Evans of Wales. Front of the line out and ball down for Garbisi Umaga, who had glimpses of decent play in that first half, but just not enough because the pack were getting absolutely nowhere. Up quickly, Leinster come again just to try and cut it off. Mendy almost gets away, but he's put down by Ross Byrne. Caught behind the gain line again, Benetton.
No effect.
Quick feed of Cannone, I think, on that occasion. There for Garbisi. Manga to pick that one up and did so well. Fekitoa back inside. McCarthy, Van der Fleer combined to put him down. But look at the roads that have been given away by Benetton. They're forced back by that on-rushing defence from Leinster, and when you get the timing of it right, it is so effective.
Yeah, great line speed there by Ross Byrne, but unfortunately couldn't hold on to it. That storyline of the out half is it's going to be an interesting one here. I think Frawley had a barnstormer of the first half and wouldn't have been delighted to see that injury happen and Ross Byrne come on, but the other side is Ross Byrne now is in the saddle and has the opportunity to kind of put his hand up and say I'm not going to be giving it up too easy.
Now remember, Leinster have the small matter of a game against the noisy neighbours in Croke Park next weekend. Game you can see live, of course, here with us on Premier Sports.
Crunch!
70,000+ tickets for that one already sold. It will be full-blooded, no question about that. Garbisi feeds Benetton, just about hold on as Leinster get a little bit of movement and momentum on the scrum. Here's Osborne, who is in the backfield. He almost gets away. Gibson Park is there to ensure possession. Leinster, you can see, getting back in 1s and 2s, so McCarthy will take it to the line, turn, and the support will be there.
Use a 9!
One of the best in the business at that particular aspect of the game. The box kick perfectly produced for James Lowe to challenge, which he does and wins the ball thereafter. It wasn't what Leinster would want it to be, but talk to me about what it's like as a forward with Gibson Park at the back of that breakdown, able to do that. It really is immaculate.
It just puts the pressure immediately back in the other team. And we were talking about Adam Byrne earlier and what he brings in the air. James Lowe is another man who the ability to catch the ball above his head and the difference that makes in putting pressure on the winger who's trying to defend. Treviso do a good job of creating a screen in front, but James Lowe does a good job of getting around it, and unfortunately follows it up with a mistake and knock on and gives Treviso back possession. But it's been an okay start for this half for Leinster.
6 and 5 are the numbers raised and called to the side, and that means that Negri and Favretto have gone. Ruzza is one of those in. I think Cannone is the other. We'll confirm that. Cannone wearing no number jersey at the back of that scrum. That would be Lorenzo Cannone. Where's this one off to Odogwu? Tried to control it with the foot, did so okay, but was then hitting the tackle, and there was a knock forward. So Leinster will get the put into the scrum. So confirming Favretto and Negri gone. In their place, Federico Ruzza and Lorenzo Cannone. First bit was okay, that wasn't. Michele Lamaro and O.G. Snyman looking every inch a villain from Game of Thrones.
non-bind, okay? Make sure you ain't non-bind. Crouch. Bind. Set.
Front rows go down and referee decides that over on that far side it's Tadhg Furlong who has been given the nod by the assistant. Let's see if we can see it on this angle. Hard to tell.
I'm not sure he got that one right, but in fairness, I think he's been excellent with the comms he's given around positioning, getting shoulders out, not stepping across. I think a tip of the cap to the ref for that.
Bad mistake, not finding territory. Touch from the boot of Umaga on that penalty. Would have given them a line out deep inside Leinster territory. Now we're playing kick tennis. Osborne underneath it had to readjust and did so well. Huge left boot on him. And that one is almost over the head of Fekitoa. He did well to gather and get himself in possession. Ringrose with the kick chase. Caelan Doris needs to be careful with the neck roll on Federico Ruzza. I wouldn't be surprised if that's looked at. Here's Odogwu out wide for Benetton. Seen a bit of the ball in the second half, just hasn't been able to get anything started. The now internationally capped Garbisi.
You're pushing into it. You're pushing into him, slowing your own ball down.
Umaga. James Lowe. Fekitoa was first there. That's a poor pass from James Lowe to no one in particular. Ross Byrne has to go back. Sloppy moment from Leinster, and it's penalised. Penalty to Benetton. Not sure what James Lowe thought he saw there, but it wasn't that. Well, they should have been here a couple of moments ago when they won the scrum penalty, but Umaga missed his touch. Not on this occasion, and it's given them the platform 5 metres out from the Leinster line. 10 minutes into this second half, nothing to show for it yet. Can Benetton strike here? Up to take the ball is Niccolò Cannone. Leinster have managed to turn it over, and turn it over so well. Looked like Cannone had a hold of it, and all of a sudden it's back on the Leinster side, and Gibson Park will complete the exit.
Let's go.
You've been noting the turnovers, James. It's another one in the blue book.
Yeah, 3 for Jack Conan and 2 for Doris and Van der Fleer. So not a bad return for your back row, but listen, Jack Conan's really putting his hand up. It's you know, in the face of adversity with the form of Caelan Doris over the last couple of years, but he's really putting his hand up in that number 6 slot, and in line-out defence, which we haven't seen from him as much in the air, he's proven to be an absolute menace.
Garbisi will make way for the experience of Andy Uren in its scrum half for Benetton. You talk about Conan having to face down the challenge of Caelan Doris. It's so easily forgotten that Conan was the starting Lions number 8 for the last tour in all the test matches, and he's got more competition from the man who's about to be introduced. Ryan Baird is not exactly a slouch at 6. Ball doesn't go to hand from Leinster. It's another sloppy pass. Won't be appreciated by the coaching staff, but nonetheless it finds its way out to Lowe, and that boot brings Leinster almost up to the halfway line. And now Ryan Baird will be introduced, and for me, this guy has the full package as an athlete.
Yeah, one of the most explosive players in Leinster rugby. His top speed stats are, I think he's 10.5, and you know, Jimmy O'Brien's I think could be like 10.4, just to give you an example of how quick the guy is. His jumping is off the charts. He can jump, I think, 72 centimetres vertical jump. He's a freak of an athlete.
Good tackle on Umaga from Gary Ringrose. It just forces the ball, and there's the perfect example of the execution of the defensive system that Leinster are trying to install. Second tackle from Keenan. The first one lodged the ball, or dislodged the ball, was from Gary Ringrose.
Yeah, Ringrose so aggressive off the line, isn't he? He allows Hugo the opportunity there to get man and ball. But, you know, not every time Ringrose will hit someone, but he will always force them to either step back inside to defenders who are going to gobble him up, or he'll give the opportunity to the likes of Keenan outside him to clean up and hit man and ball, with the ball in flight time being going over the head.
Crouch!
So Ryan Baird into the second row. Of course, plays back row as well, as Leinster with the ball in hand from Frawley and Ross Byrne, and Osborne asked to chase after that, and so is Lowe. It's watched and managed by Gallagher to get the ball back on the Benetton side. He did well, sandwiched between two Leinster players. Uren passes it on. Leinster just making it really difficult for Benetton, even at the breakdown, making it tricky. That one looked out and out by a considerable distance, but Leinster didn't challenge. Here's Osborne, caught in by Mendy, did a good job of forcing him back. Twice capped by Argentina, Ignacio Mendy. Gibson Park, Ross Byrne, Tadhg Furlong, so often in that space in both blue and green. Byrne once more. Caelan Doris as Leinster start to pull Benetton one way and then the other, and look for a weak shoulder. They need to control the ball. Benetton sticking to the defensive task. Gibson Park, here's Ross Byrne. Furlong the dummy. Osborne doesn't go to hand, and well, I was just about to say Odogwu is through, but there was a knock on, and the referee brings it back, and the crowd are not at all happy.
Tell you someone who is happy is Ross Byrne, that he didn't have to give a foot race with Odogwu there. Great defensive pressure, in fairness, by Treviso, and it's been a little bit scrappy from Leinster in this half, hasn't it?
Well, job done in their minds. 25 minutes with 4 tries and a 28-0 lead. And that is the way it remains when that time is more than doubled. 54 minutes on the clock now, still 28-0. Benetton, well, if they can take anything, they can take confidence from that. Question is, could they get a score on the board shortly that might give them the confidence to build and maybe challenge?
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Replacements being readied. We'll get to them shortly. Gibson Park draws the defender. Osborne, Frawley, Mendy makes the tackle. Lorenzo Cannone in there to make the tackle as well. Osborne once more, he's wrapped up by Zuliani. James Lowe strips the ball. Just great strength from Lowe out wide. And Caelan Doris keeps the ball alive, but it's picked off by one of the Benetton players. Zuliani has it now. Uren flings it wide, and Umaga kicks downfield. Odogwu goes chasing after it, bounces awkwardly for Hugo Keenan, but he's always calm under pressure, and Porter and Furlong say, we'll go from here, and Ryan Baird is asked to take it on. Quick ball, and Leinster have Benetton stretched. Osborne, nice hands. Caelan Doris, good tackle from Mendy to send Leinster backwards. Ross Byrne decides downfield it needs to go. An advantage Benetton from that particular exchange. This one will be competed for and won by Ross Byrne as Umaga came bearing down on him. Gibson Park has a little look and a shout to Osborne. That's a good kick from Osborne. Really, really good kick.
And that's what they've been crying out for in this half. You've noticed Leinster's tactics in the first half was punishing the backfield. They haven't done that. They've gotten sucked into trying to play too much, and in fairness, Treviso, they're always very good at manning up, putting time in the tackle, making it hard for you to attack against them. You need to punish their backfield with excellent kicks like that from Osborne.
So Joe McCarthy has had his afternoon called to a halt, as indeed has Andrew Porter and Tadhg Furlong. Into the front row for Furlong and for Porter come Michael Milne and Thomas Clarkson, and Brian Deeney will come in for McCarthy. All change for Leinster. Manfredi in at hooker for Benetton, wearing the scrum cap and 16 on his back. Gibson Park. Spurn. Good leg drive, gets Leinster forward once more. Here's Ryan Baird. Gibson Park a little bit further than he would have liked. Gallagher had plenty of time. Who's first there? Ringrose again. Spagnolo. Prop, who was yellow carded in the opening 10 minutes, gets them going forward. Manfredi and then Cannone, Niccolò Cannone, and the Uren. Wearing 23, Leonardo Marin. Odogwu looked like a man on a mission in this second half. Benetton desperately trying to get themselves into this game. Still 23 minutes left in it, plenty of time, but they need to score, and they need to score quickly. Step back inside, Leonardo Marin, the referee has decided no advantage accruing, so back will go for a penalty against Leinster, and another opportunity to find some territory. This time they need to find some points, and that'll be called back as Andy Uren looked to go quickly. Some concerns for Jack Conan.
Never go back on side. Set in. Time is off. Time is off.
Where would the heads of the Leinster management team be right now? Comfortable enough with the performance, or disappointed that Leinster have dropped off it and allowed Benetton back into this game?
There'll definitely be an element of disappointment, but I feel like the first half, there'll be parts to review, but it's more the game plan that they're not sticking to from what we've seen. You know, maybe there was a change in tack, but yes, they were attacking against 14 men for the majority of the first half, and they still kicked it quite a lot. Now they're against a full team, and they seem to be running the ball a lot more and not getting much change for it. I think with the mistakes that are happening, they need to gain control of the game and start kicking the ball a lot more and start putting pressure on Treviso again, because they're starting to grow into the game.
Changes in the front row for Benetton. Ferrari and Spagnolo both make way. Maile already gone. Manfredi in for him. So Destiny Aminu and Enzo Avaca wearing 18. Enzo Avaca makes his Benetton debut. And it's there for Uren. Pulled back, and Odogwu was almost set free. That one pinballs around, and we'll go back for another penalty, and Leinster could be in a bit of yellow card trouble here. There have been a number of penalties in the last 6 or 7 minutes. We'll call that a final warning. And not unreasonably, Leinster have given away one or two too many for the referee's liking.
In fairness, Doris goes for the sack there, but when Deeney makes contact with the back of the maul, Doris is illegal by taking that down. Yeah, they're definitely pushing the boundaries here, but they're going to have to keep Treviso out.
To the maul, Treviso go. They've got so little from this game. Is this their moment? As we hit the hour mark, Treviso over the line. Have they scored their first try? The referee desperately trying to see the ball, Craig Evans, and he says held up. The crowd not happy, the Benetton players not happy, but the referee in the right place to make the call. He looked and eventually came up with his verdict.
That's heartbreak. That was their moment to get back in the game. In fairness, I think Doris is the one who gets underneath it here, making up for his mistake previously. But when you get into that 5-minute channel, you kind of have to push the boundaries of legality to keep them out, especially against a big pack like this Treviso side.
There's no evidence there to turn it over, and in fairness to the Benetton players, there wasn't much argument taken back by Lorenzo Cannone, then it's there for Uren. Just cannot find a way to that Leinster line. Uren eventually gets his hands on it. Fekitoa will step back inside. Scrum half once more, then Marin and Gallagher, who's just a target for Baird to put on his backside. Marin once more. Scrum half gets there, works that narrow side, and picked off by Ross Byrne. Holds onto the ball. Crowd screaming for a knock-on. I don't think it was on the evidence of what we saw. Here's Osborne. Gibson Park orchestrates, tells him where he wants it. Frawley is the next carrier. Van der Fleer and low. Odogwu to Frawley again, who tries to wrap around in a very tight space. Kicks the ball away, and that one will beat them all, and Gallagher will touch down from one end to the other. Moments ago, Benetton almost scoring. Here, well, Osborne in a lot of ways is lucky that he got a hold of that, because he could have found himself in the sin bin for a deliberate knock-on had he not reached out and gathered.
There you go, big play. No, he was definitely gone 1,000% if he doesn't gather that, but in fairness to him, he comes up with it. And you know, even looks like they could kick away possession. Now they get another chance to do a set play here, which they'll practice.
Last time we saw Kieran Frawley with the ball in that position, drop goal on his mind. That is too easy for Caelan Doris, through about 5, if not 6 tackles. But the referee is going to come back crossing in front of Caelan Doris. Stop Benetton defenders getting to the Leinster number 8. But from here, 1, well, Baird got in the way, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on he went. That would not have made for particularly enjoyable viewing in the Benetton video meeting Monday morning.
And he's robbed of a highlight reel moment there. He went to full beast mode.
This time Menoncello, the one who receives attention. Debut against France for Italy back in 2022 as a 19-year-old. The 2024 Six Nations Player of the Series. He really was outstanding last February and March. Been a fantastic find for Benetton and for Italy. Manfredi goes for and finds Cannone at the tail. Hooker looking for the ball, gets it back for Uren. But quickly Van der Fleer, Menoncello sort of steps around him and keeps the momentum forward for Benetton, taken on by Aminu. 4,391 souls in the Stadio Monigo, and they will, in the majority, cheer that advantage that's handed to Benetton as Marini sets it up. Marin plays the tight little pass. Gary Ringrose took a little bit of a boot there, accidental. Uren once more, but again that line speed from Leinster is just not giving Benetton an inch. Every inch is fought for. Still advantage, says the referee. Pulled back by Fekitoa, and Ignacio Mendy almost found a way through. This time, surely Leinster are going to face a yellow card. They are. Consistent infringing down in that 22 or thereabouts, and it may well be Ryan Baird who's going to face 10 minutes in the bin, not rolling away, although right there it wasn't exactly an easy thing to do. Till the 75th minute, Leinster down to 14.
Play calling here very important for Treviso about getting back into the game. The last line out, they went over to 15 with a maul play, which against a really aggressive defence like Leinster is not really what you want to do. Once it breaks to 15, the back line can come up. It's given their backs no space to attack really. Now, because of the repeated infringements, they've gotten a penalty and a yellow card, but you know, they need to be able to, you know, go after Leinster here. Maybe at the maul they're going to be down at 6, or maybe coming back on the blind side where they're not going to have that cover there. But it's about intelligent play calling here for Treviso if they want to get back into this game.
Gallagher has been asked to find as much range as he possibly can, and boy did he dice with kicking it dead there. Terrific kick out of hand, exactly what his team needed. Matt Gallagher, every inch that gives them a line out 5 meters away. Marco Manfredi is entrusted with the throw. Lorenzo Cannone gathers, and the maul gathers. Now, Uren looking for a little bit of beef to be added. Marin arrives, but not with much in the way of commitment. Menoncello's there as well, and they are over this time. They've huffed and they've puffed for 65, 66 minutes, but eventually they found their way there. The try is scored. I think it's Manfredi. We will confirm it on the replay. But the try is scored, and the clock is still in their favour. A long way back, but at least from a Benetton perspective, they're on the road.
All made by that kick to touch there. You know, as a pack, when it hits the 5 meter line, you're licking your lips, and exactly what Treviso needed to do. They piled everyone in. I think there was a 12-man maul in the end there, and take advantage of Leinster being down a second row. So listen, it's game on.
Leonardo Marin with the potential additional 2, and he really snatched at that, didn't he? By the way, his commitment to the maul was questionable as well.
Commentator's curse.
At this point, it looked like Leinster had stemmed the flow, but they just changed the point of pressure, Benetton, and they did so with a little bit of finesse, and Manfredi, over he goes. 28 points to 5.
Use it!
Into the game at scrum half, you can see Finton Gunn. Gibson Park makes way. There is Gunn, gets his hands on the ball. Ross Byrne to the air he goes. Lowe will go after it. Gallagher's had a decent game at 15. Mendy there to meet him. As soon as he gathered the ball, Gunn
Let's go.
From a slightly retreating position for Leinster, trying to get them going once more.
Use it now.
Low once more, chases, but Uren came and gathered really well. Replacement scrum half needs a little bit of help and gets it. Fekitoa will deputise for him at 9. It's been a real smother defence effort by Leinster in this second half. They've just forced Benetton backwards every time they've had the ball. Van der Fleer, as if to prove the point, charged down, charges after, grabs Gallagher and forces Benetton, 7 metres away from their own line. They still have possession, but they've retreated 30 metres.
Use it!
Uren to the air. Remember Leinster with just 14 players, Ryan Baird in the sin bin. Fintan Gunn goes on a little run, and that one not managed and not held on to by Deeney. And it's now with Odogwu, and he's got pace and power, and he sets Benetton up again. A little bit of belief, a ripple of hope around the stadium as it's Cannone who takes it up. Benetton back inside the Leinster half, but they've been here so many times before and have been unable to unlock this Leinster defence, and once more Leinster just forced the turnover, forced the mistake, and Ross Byrne ducks and dives like a middleweight and sets Leinster up once again. Pull back and dropped on this occasion. I think it was Clarkson that may have spilled it forward. The net result, scrum Benetton. The Italians, a couple of tricky games ahead for them, and particularly rounds 4 and 6 as they face South African opposition, albeit at home. They're home to the Sharks next week, then away to the Dragons, who look, from all we've seen in the first couple of rounds, that they're improving, and then back here at Stadio Comunale in round 6 against the Bulls. At that point, we'll have a sense of where Benetton really are this season. The evidence today and in the 2 weeks previously, albeit without some of their frontline players, is that Marco Bortolami's team are off the pace of last season.
Yeah, I think so, and it's been a bit of a trend in the second half anyway, but for Treviso it's been the whole game. It's the unforced errors. You know, we saw the knock on at the back rook. Just when they're about to get on top, they lose the next moment, and that's been a really big killer for the momentum killer. When they're exiting, they're getting caught man and ball, and just small things that are real momentum killers for a team. So listen, it's something that you can work on in training. They've been really hard on those small moments and making sure you're executing when there's no pressure on you, so when you get on the big stage that you can execute.
Slimani and Sneeman, the yellow-carded Baird, look on. While this is going on, the aforementioned Dragons are simultaneously playing against the Sharks. They lead it by 30 points to 26, 8 minutes to go there. A couple of games still to come after this in round 3. Parma play the Stormers, 7:35. Following us here, it's Munster against the Ospreys with a 7:35 kickoff.
Like I spoke, something over the gap, shoulder out, keep the gap. Okay?
I think the 50-22 rule has been such a good addition to rugby. You see Leinster going here with a man down in the scrum. Well, traditionally against Treviso, you might think of sticking it back in there because you're going to get a scrum penalty, but they're willing to kind of risk it here at scrum time because a 50-22 is a bigger punishment for them.
Crouch!
No rush, lads.
From where I am, it looks fine. If I'm not going to change because you asked me, okay? If I go through the sequence and I haven't got an issue, you stand up, I should go through. Okay?
If Michael Milne was put back in his box, whatever question he has to the referee, he got a very short answer. Couple of bumps and bruises on both sides. Front rows there, Benetton, that started in Simone Ferrari and Siua Maile, both with ice on the knees. Ronan Kelleher, we saw a couple of moments ago. There'll be real concern that both Leinster and national level, international level that is, about his well-being. Right now, Benetton will get the penalty, but the clock is now not their friend. And they've been at it for 40 minutes, or 27 minutes to be exact right now, and they have really struggled to break this Leinster defence down. Just the one try, despite the numerous opportunities. Gallagher's done well.
Very well, and I think from Leinster point of view anyway, one thing that they'll be happy about in this whole game is their defence and how they've been able to put pressure on Treviso throughout the game, even through the kind of unforced errors and little things going on. Their defence has been rock solid.
Leinster back to the full complement. Scott Penny is in there. Gary Ringrose has made way. Who knows what alignment Leinster will come up with now, as Mendy steps into Caelan Doris, but I think the referee's view is the player wasn't back on the ground by the time Caelan Doris got there. Let's see if that's what's confirmed by this replay. Yeah, just a split second, but split second the wrong side of the law. Into the 22 from the boot of Matt Gallagher, and another opportunity inside Leinster's 22 for Benetton to try and launch something. Yellow card has come back up on the screen, gone now because Ryan Baird is back in the game.
Say more, say more, say more. Stay, stay.
Uren sees no further momentum in that maul, so it goes to Fekitoa and then Menoncello, and Uren back on the angle. That's the substitute prop, Enzo Avaca. Lorenzo Cannone. Uren again, but look, ball in hand. Benetton retreat, then find a little pop pass in behind James Lowe to get them moving forward. Fekitoa, Cannone. Pulled back by Fekitoa once more. Gallagher looking to try and create something, gets it out to the try scorer Marco Manfredi, up to the 22. A little bit better from Benetton, but then they spill it and away goes Josh van der Fleer. Now he's got gas, but not enough to go the length of the pitch on his own. Osborne is there, and Benetton have got numbers back, but are they back quickly enough? It goes from Gunn, not a particularly good pass, but picked up and still there for Leinster. Gunn gets another go at it, and crossfield it goes from Ross Byrne, who asks James Lowe to chase, and James Lowe will always chase. Needs to let Gallagher get up, although Gallagher doesn't get up because Odogwu gets over the ball. It's still there, it's scrappy, it's messy, and it's meters away from the Benetton line. Where's the ball? Leinster can't quite get their hands on it. But again, the pressure of the defence creates the opportunity deep, deep, deep inside Benetton territory, and they'll get the put into the scrum, the reward for all that effort.
Here's something I never thought I'd say. James Lowe's ruck work has been exceptional today. He has 3 moments there where he's counter-rucking that side of the ball. It's not something you always see from a winger as a big attribute, but coming up with big moments, chasing the ball really hard and not giving up on the chance. He has 2 bites of the cherry there in 2 different rucks and comes up with a turnover for his team.
Yeah, hinge from you. I didn't see that picture.
We'll tick towards the final 2 minutes of this one.
Okay, I got that picture.
Jack Conan announced as the URC player of the match.
Let's go, please, Benetton. Let's fall.
He's had a good start into this season, no doubt about that.
Big time, and I think his line out work is what I'm most impressed by. You look at Peter O'Mahony, and that's one of his biggest attributes. I think for Jack, everyone knew how good a carrier was. He's brought in his coaching element to the game. He's had 3 turnovers in this game. It's his work at the line out that's been really impressive for me.
Scott Penny packs down at the back of that Leinster scrum. You can see him wearing number 23. Josh van der Fleer out wide on the wing for Leinster, playing in the back line. Remember, Leinster only carried 2 back subs into this game, Fintan Gunn and Ross Byrne. So with Ringrose having to go, van der Fleer is in the back line. Leinster get the penalty, go to the line out. They'll have a back line that they probably would choose not to use right now. They'll go to the maul instead. And it's working well, as skipping away is Lee Barron. Pirouettes out, and there's no one there to meet him. And the replacement hooker who came on for Ronan Kelleher in the first half gets Leinster's first try of the second half, 5th on the evening. And at last, some reward in this second half in terms of points on the board for Leinster.
Beautiful throw jump there from Lee, hits it right on the money, and then very powerful off the base and reaches out and scores. And you know, as a hooker, when you're touching off that, you got to look back and be like, that started with a great kick from Ross Byrne and 2 excellent no talent moments from James Lowe.
No talent moments, just do the hard yards.
Exactly, it's good to see the wingers getting stuck in.
Ross Byrne to keep the perfect record of 7 each time. He does. And that will be that. Leinster, well, from about 6-7 minutes in, this one was never really in doubt. They opened with a penalty try. They got a cracker, the try of the match from Frawley thereafter. Jack Conan added the third, his third of the season. Caelan Doris scored the bonus point try. And that was 28-0 at half-time. In the second half, no doubt Benetton upped the intensity, upped the effort, but the game was gone. They did get a consolation try from Manfredi that wasn't converted, and there, right there, the full stop put on it by Leinster with the try from Lee Barron, the 5th on the evening, converted by Ross Byrne. Straightforward in the end for Leinster. Tougher task ahead, no doubt, in Croke Park next weekend, but on this day, on this evening, too strong for Benetton. They win it by 35 points to 5.